Who is Peggy Lipton, and why is it important to talk about a lady with a magnificent aura, a rare epitome of womanhood with great talent, dedication, and strong inspiration? She's a positive role model for young and older women of her generation. Sadly, this great hint of feminine elegance is no longer with us. I'm sure her creator loves her, but it seems the huge number of fans Peggy left behind loves her the most. She was also good with male lovers and had dozens in her life. How come Peggy Lipton's bed was never empty? Peggy Lipton is one of those women you can look back at their beautiful life and contribution to the entertainment industry, and by extension humanity, and wonder why people get so old when they should remain young and continue to deliver fun to mankind. Just like many, I too was a big fan because of her modest and stylish lifestyle. She reminds me of my mother of blessed memory. May her soul rest in peace. I was in a local event some years back trying to catch one or two interviews from some of the legendary Hollywood personalities when a colleague ran up to me and said I had just talked to the Mod Squad lady. I knew instantly he was talking about Peggy Lipton. I quickly sprang to my feet, pulled my seat to a corner and ran towards the direction, only to be told that she'd left the venue. And that unfortunately was the last time I got very close to interviewing her before we heard of her demise. I had a personal liking for her acting style, and watching her on screen was always such a big fun. It's so funny how events and time determine the direction of things while aging is a serious impediment to man. Is this also why great minds keep talking about the likes of Peggy Lipton? You would think Peggy was cute in her early shows because of her youthfulness. That was not the case, because we saw Peggy put up a great performance when she was paired with a younger man, as more fans went agog with her loveliness despite aging. Whether it was through the Mod Squad or Twin Peaks, Peggy Lipton's acting career enticed millions of fans for several decades. No wonder a great number of persons were saddened to learn that she had transcended to eternal glory. Certainly she left a memorable legacy through her fascinating lifestyle, even as those who saw her last days in Hollywood talked about her as being ageless and timeless, not with the passionate performance she put up in some of her later television episodes. Apart from being a professional model, Peggy Lipton is a model to her generation, a cute American actress and singer who made notable appearances in many of the most popular television shows of the 1960s. Without mincing words, Peggy would go down in history not just as an actress but as a great performer. I read a comment recently where an ardent fan fondly wished she'd been given a role she could blossom in her eternal rest. That is the kind of passion she exuded with her talent. I still remember talking to fans who literally wept, feeling heartbroken when they learned that Mod Squad had been cancelled. Peggy's enthusiasts were particularly saddened that the Julie they cherished so much would no longer be seen on their TV set. After learning about a few background stories of Peggy Lipton, I could not help but say bravo to a lady I admire so much for being an inspiration to women of all ages. The septuagenarian Peggy Lipton has been described as a baby boomer baby, because of her role in the famous episodes of baby boomer TV series like The Bewitched and The Alfred Hitchcock Hour, just to mention. Born in New York City as Margaret Ann Lipton in 1946, she is a product of an upper-middle-class Jewish family, artist Rita Benson and solicitor Harold Lipton. Little Lipton grew up living with her siblings and studied at Lawrence Junior High School and the Professional Children's School. She had an ugly girl-child experience with an uncle back in the day and was described as a worried and withdrawn child with a speech disorder that was so severe that she had to struggle to say her name. When her family relocated to Los Angeles, Lipton joined the community of Topanga Canyon Hippie, where she explored meditation and yoga as a way of building herself emotionally. That activity was part of 1960s hippie culture. Records show that at the age of 18, Lipton started using substances to ease her depressive tendency, although it's not very clear how that one assisted her life and career. Before her family relocated to California, Lipton was already inspired to take up a career as an actress in line with her mother's suggestion, and soon registered for acting lessons while she was still a teenager. She was training to become an actor when her father arranged for his daughter to join modelling after he observed her beauty and intelligence, leading to her signing for work in Ford Agency. Her father was said to have organised her first modelling jobs in New York, while her mother wanted her to take on acting. However, at 15, teenage Lipton was already on display as a model at Ford Agency, where she hit the runway with early career success. Despite her initial success in the modelling gig, Peggy did not find much joy with the modelling career, owing to what she said was the wrong kind of people she was dealing with, not the kind of persons she'd preferred. She also disliked the suburban life, which became part of her at the time. Highly motivated to get into Hollywood movies, Lipton signed with Universal Pictures and made her first television outing at 19 in the NBC sitcom The John Forsyth Show in 1965, and within the next 3 years young and vibrant Lipton played in several TV series, including the episodes of The Virginian and The Invaders. The high point of her career was in The Mod Squad, where Lipton was busy with her talent. That production also had Robert Lipton, her brother, as a cast. Robert Lipton was a talented character actor, appearing in many notable roles, though he never assumed a leading man role. He also appeared with Peggy Lipton in other movies. Fortunately for Peggy, that crime drama became her career-defining moment, appearing as Julie Barnes and earning a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress from the show. I heard that she was earning a $6,700 weekly pay from that show. Lovers of baby boomers will remember Peggy Lipton for that co-starring role alongside Michael Cole and Clarence Williams III. The three stars appeared in all 123 episodes of Mod Squad during the 5 years of its runs. The show is the trendiest cop drama of the era. Beautiful Lipton is also a powerful vocalist. As a singer, she made 3 famous singles that competed favourably on the Billboard charts. Besides her hot singles, she established her prowess in the music industry with an album, Peggy Lipton, in the late 1960s that was produced by Ode Records. A very wonderful talent she is, Lipton put up her final show on screen during the remake of David Lynch's Twin Peaks, and for her off-screen romantic life it's a mix of sadness and regret initially, especially with the way most of her affairs had abruptly ended, as if they were not meant to be. I heard that Lipton befriended Paul McCartney. He came to the US around the 1960s, the period when the Beatles' fame was at its peak. During that period, unfortunately, the fellow she called a friend was also living with his girlfriend, Jane Asher's family in England. Similarly, Peggy Lipton had to put up with a distressed relationship for almost a year with an unfaithful, heavy alcoholic drunk identified as Rick. The young man would not hesitate to hit her with reckless abandon. At least so she said. Lipton was in a relationship with music producer Lou Adler for a time. Perhaps her association with Lou must have inspired her to do her songs, because it was around this period that she put out her hit singles. Lipton discovers a career substitute, her singing talent, and produced songs that ranked high. At some point she was almost focusing on her singing career, including her music performance on the Hollywood Palace sometime in 1969. She had her first movie experience in a small part in the Western romance Blue the previous year. In her memoir, Breathing Out, published in 2005, Lipton spoke about life as a pot smoker and how she had a crush on Terence Stamp during the filming of Blue. It's not surprising, however, that she began an affair with him shortly after filming, but what is very juicy about their love story is that the romantic journey took a dramatic turn somehow, as Lipton went on to also have a progressive affair with his brother, Christopher Stamp. I'm very sure that there was something very special about the Stamps that Lipton loved so much, but I feel very sad that she never consolidated any of her relationships with both Stamp brothers. If what Lipton said is anything to go by, she was also at some point in a romantic lane with the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. I'm not sure I understand the particular paragraphs of that report, but she seems to suggest that Elvis was no longer active as people knew him at the time. I have observed a pattern in the life of most celebrities. They seem to use their memoir to reveal the untold stories of their love life. The same is said of Lipton, who also included names like Keith Moon and Ryan O'Neal as those that warmed her bed during her teenage years and early 20s. She met and married musician and producer Quincy Jones in what appears to be a new chapter in her life. She was so happy and somewhat fulfilled in that marriage that she decided to take a temporal break from acting so she can focus on her family. That union welcomed 2 girls, Kidada and Rashida. Expectedly, the couple worked together both as husband and wife in their profession. Recall that Lipton and Quincy Jones, alongside Alan and Marilyn Bergman, co-wrote Frank Sinatra's hit "L.A. is My Lady," which was released in 1984. Unfortunately, Lipton and Jones would later separate and completed their divorce in 1989, a year after she returned to television as the lead star of the ABC movie Addicted to His Love. Not too long after, Lipton bounced back to the limelight with her performance as Norma Jennings in David Lynch's TV series Twin Peaks, which aired in the early 1990s. Talking about the Twin Peaks show, Lipton told fans that she did not get a phone call before she knew that her audition for the role was a success, because she was instantly selected by David Lynch for the role after the audition. She had also described as the most fun-filled her position as Norma Jennings in the Twin Peaks production, compared to every other role she had played. Fans were not too happy that her marriage with Quincy Jones ended the way it did, and some people were curious about why it had to be that way. Lipton and Jones first met on her friend's sailboat in the Bahamas. She got interested in him because she thought he was adorable, but Jones was still legally married to his second wife, Ulla Anderson. So the connection with him was a little coarse, but they found a way to remain in contact. About a year and some months after, Lipton's friend Jolie, who was Jones's eldest daughter, had invited his newly separated father, who was living as a bachelor alongside Peggy Lipton, to a dinner. One thing leads to another. The twosome began cohabiting. Their living together was so passionate and it resulted in pregnancy. For some reasons that was still not yet clear, her first pregnancy was aborted, though it became a sign of better cooperation between them. Not too long after, Lipton gave birth to their daughter Kidada Jones in 1974, the same year the couple cemented their union in matrimony. Months later, Quincy Jones was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm that led to surgery. Their second daughter was born 2 years after, sometime in 1976, the period that Lipton decided to temporarily halt her acting career. Those privy to her marriage with Jones said Lipton was satisfied at the time playing her marital role as a stay-at-home mum. One major reason for that was that her husband was often engaged with work and most times away from home. Despite what seemed like a happy marriage for several years, she left Jones in 1986 and their divorce was officially over 4 years after. Interestingly, the two courted for about 3 years and stayed together in marriage for over 17 years, meaning that they have known each other for about 20 years. Thereafter, Lipton began another phase in her life, a period that was marked with a series of issues. Reports said Lipton embarked on a period of self-discovery and travels, but a more disturbing issue is the fact that she had to undergo mental health crises that led to counselling. Although Peggy Lipton got romantically involved with other men after divorcing Jones, her life did not remain the same. It was not clear why she chose not to remarry, but she and Jones remained friends after they left each other. Peggy Lipton, with all her fame, remained a humble character and appeared very realistic about her life ideology and how the show played out. She was once quoted to have said that at some point she didn't have any idea about the type of show she was doing and how widely accepted her performance was. Critics say, regardless of how lucky she was to be playing a starring role in a major television drama, she apparently reflected a touching persona rooted in a deep insecurity concerning her acting ability. In her opinion, doing the same role on a TV series for such a long time kind of affected her acting skills, and she was worried about looking for other work outside television. Before her demise as a result of colon cancer, Lipton had battled the disease for several years, before she even revealed in 2004 that she was diagnosed with cancer and that it was being taken care of with prescribed treatment. It's time to buckle up for another whirlwind of emotions. Get ready to delve into the mesmerizing world of Hollywood's love affairs. Our next video uncovers the star-crossed romance between Inga Stevens and Burt Reynolds.